mean, I'm going to throw it out there. I think he's a top 25 to 30 kid in that class, truthfully.
It was, probably the best, years of my life. A lot of people like college. And college is fun, but high school basketball, playing high school basketball in Indiana, playing at New Albany, being on a #1 ranked team, it doesn't get much better than that.
Era Sports. We're at the game.
Welcome back to the Era Podcast, where for the next 16 weeks, we are going to have either coaches or players on to talk about Southern Indiana basketball, just to get us hyped and ready for the season. At Era Sports, we love covering Southern Indiana and putting players on the map. So today, we have with us Coach Matt Lynch from Charlestown. How you doing, man?
Good. Appreciate you guys having me on and everything you guys do for local area sports. Anytime we can get promoted, it's great, and I appreciate everything you guys do.
Yeah, before we get started, is your ringer on just in case, or like?
No, I turned it off. So I think my wife's getting ready to go in labor anytime probably, so I turned it off. But I think she'll be good for this 30, 40 minutes.
Tell me. So I was at a previous player of yours' house yesterday. He's family. He was telling me about the name of the baby.
Yeah, we're going Luca Lynch.
There you go. Big Luca fan?
It was before the title run, but I've always liked. She wanted to go Luke, and I said I know a lot of Lukes. What about Luca? Then we had a debate about how we were going to spell it. I wanted to go with the K. She wanted to go with the C, but we ended up with the K. So
that's unusual because usually you'd end up with the way she wanted.
Right. I don't know how I got that one.
That's official Luca there.
Well, then once he made the NBA Finals, you're like, it's over.
Yeah.
Got to.
So Charlestown, some of the nicest facilities in the state. We love to shoot there for both basketball and football. Tell me a little bit about the key players that you have coming back, because you didn't lose too much. You lost really good players, but tell me about the guys you got coming back.
Yeah, we got our core back. We got 4 starters coming back. We lost Ethan French, was an all-conference player for us. Lucas Gillespie was our other senior, but he got hurt and I think he only played 4 or 5 games for us. So
he's not very good either.
Lucas is good. He's a good passer.
That's my cousin. That's why I can say that he's family. That's the one I was talking about.
He's a heck of a passer.
He transferred out of Kai too, so whatever.
Yeah. So we bring back our 4 core guys, 4 starters, 2 seniors, Grayson Connell and Demetrius Phelps. Grayson started almost every game since he's been a freshman. I don't think I started him his first 2 games his freshman year, and then ever since then he started every game. Last year he was sick against Floyd Central, so he didn't start that game. But other than that, he's been a starter for us, and he does a lot of little things that go unnoticed. He's a former coach's son, so he understands the things that it takes to win. He kind of got noted as a 3-point shooter specialist only, and this summer he really expanded his game, and he shot 70% from 2 for us this summer on 70 attempts. So got a lot stronger, worked on his body. We're not very big. That's probably our one knock that we have going against us, but our guys play a little bit bigger than what their actual height is, and Grayson did a great job this summer, guarding the other team's 4 or 5 man, and really held his own. So he's been great for us. And then Demetrius Phelps was our leading scorer last year at 15 points a game. Cat quick, gets tons of steals, tons of deflections. I think he's got an outside chance to break Coach Odell's steal record, all-time steal record. So looking forward to having those 2 guys back, and they do a little bit of everything for us. And then A.J. Todd's been our starting point guard for the last 2 years, so he'll be a junior, and he's going to break this all-time assist record this year.
How many away is he from that?
I think he's 90, so it'll be towards the end, but I expect him to get there pretty easily, and he can score as well. I think his first game as a freshman against New Wash, he scored 25 points, so he can light it up. And then Parker Odell has also started for us last year. He was hurt all summer, so we didn't get to see him, in action, but he's worked on his body. He's gotten stronger. He can stroke it, but with getting his body stronger, he's been able to finish and get to the rim a little bit better. So excited to see us at full strength with him back, and see what we can do. But those are our 4 core guys that we bring back from last year's team. And
then let's just get it out in the open. Tell me about the new addition.
Yeah, Anthony Fresh he's the new addition, and it seems like he's been playing with us since day one. He averaged 19 points for us a game this summer, led us in rebounding, steals, blocks, dunks. He can do a little bit of everything, and he's super unselfish. I think that's the biggest characteristic that I noticed from him, was how unselfish he was. He always seemed to make the right play. I remember the first couple days in practice, I pulled him to the side and I said, "You're not a role player anymore. It's time. It's time for you to go and show everybody what you can do." So he had a huge summer for us, and really kind of the fit that we needed. There's a lot of good players in the area. no doubt about that. But I felt like he's probably under the radar more than anybody just because of his role at Jeffersonville last year and playing behind those big three that they have. He didn't get to really, show what he can do. And I think this summer that he did show that, and I expect him to continue to get better. He's a gym rat. He always wants to get in the gym and shoot and get better. So anytime you get a player like that comes in, it's always great and a good feeling as a coach, and he makes other players better, which I think speaks volumes, more than anything else.
But
I bet, Coach. Like, what was your record again this summer?
We were 19-2 this summer.
19-2. When I watched Charlestown this summer and I saw Anthony play, I was like, holy crap, that Charlestown has a real shot now. Was that kind of your impression too? I thought you all went from pretty good to, hey, you're a contender.
Yeah, I mean, when he came in, I'd seen dunking highlights that he had last year at Jeffersonville, but I had no idea all the things that he could do to impact the game. So it didn't take long in practice to find out that he was a special player. And I agree with you. I think he does make us a contender in sectional. It's a loaded sectional. I'm sure we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Somehow it got harder, even though we had the state championship in Scottsburg last year. But yeah, I think he definitely makes us a player. And this summer, and we played 21 games, and I thought in all 21 games he was the best player on the floor. And anytime you have the best player on the floor as a coach, you feel like you got a chance.
Well, and it goes back to like he was a role player for Jeffersonville, but as young as he was playing the competition, because they played a brutal schedule last year, it probably got him ready to where now he's like not the 3A is less than 4A, but he's like, dude, I'm ready to go. I can fly up and down the floor. He's so fun to watch. We got to watch him a couple times in AAU, a couple times at Charlie Hughes and at the Clarksville League, but he's fun, man.
Yeah, great kid, great personality. Fun to be around. All the players love him, so that makes it a lot easier as a coach when he comes in and fits right in.
I mean, I'm going to throw it out there. I think he's a top 25 to 30 kid in that class, truthfully.
I agree.
Statewide.
I agree.
From what I've seen out of everyone this summer.
I mean, there was nothing that he couldn't do this summer. He didn't shoot the three ball particularly well in the summer, but in practice he shot it much better. And I know he's a good shooter. I think that it just, in that small sample size, he just didn't hit. But he shot 65% from two, and he got face guarded one game, this summer and still scored 20-something points. So, I agree. I think he's a top player in the area. I think he's a top player in the state, and I think that he's going to be on a lot of coaches' radars, coming up.
Well, we're trying to put him out there. I mean, it's hard way down here next to Louisville, but we're gonna push him for sure.
I appreciate it.
And talk to me a little bit about June. We mentioned some players, but as a whole, what were a couple really good teams you guys played? You only lost twice, so I saw you play the males and who other that
Manual,
same
we played
man,
Manual,
yeah.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the teams you played. Did it make you better? Are you excited for the season after watching them play? And
yeah, we played in the Kentucky Inter Summer League. We played 8 games there. Male and Manual were probably the two of the best teams that we played in that. And then we went down to Western Kentucky for team camp. Those were both of our losses. We lost to Grayson County, which is a game I felt like we had won, but we kind of screwed up at the end. But they were a good team. They had all juniors last year, so they had everybody coming back. And then we got all the way to the championship game down there and got beat by Davies County, which had played Jeffersonville close the day before. Jeff didn't stay, so they weren't in the tournament. They went down to, I think, Memphis to play.
all without Parker, by the way, too.
Yeah, all without Parker.
Without a starter.
Yeah, without a starter. So I was very pleased, with how we played. After WKU, we went up to Charlie Hughes. We just stayed for one day, played Vincennes, Lincoln, and can't remember the other team we played. But, I think when the schedule came out, I do the schedule for the Kentucky and Summer League, so I know, you're trying to get good matchups. And I'm sure when, those people up in Carmel and Westfield, they saw Charlestown, they just kind of, it's an average 3A team. So I don't feel like we played the best of competition up there.
Oh, those people in Carmel, man, I swear.
But we did what we were supposed to do. I felt like against a team that we were better than. And then we ended up going to Whiteland. We played Whiteland, Seymour, and Terre Haute South. And we actually went up there with AJ was on vacation, Parker was still out, and Demetrius Phelps was out. So we went up there without 3 starters and beat all 3 of those teams, which I thought was very impressive.
Well, that's good because you don't want to show everybody what you.
Yeah, you
Right.
don't. I don't know. As a coach, and I got to listen to your Matt Dennison interview, so I didn't really know a lot of the history. You're a Southern Indiana basketball guy through and through. You love it. I don't think there's a better event other than playing in Gainbridge Fieldhouse than Charlie Hughes. It is unbelievable. Like you go to down 7 steps of stairs and there's this game with people all around it screaming and like it's intense. And but as a head coach, do you like the Charlie Hughes event? Do you like taking your team there?
I just wish they could have it on Baller TV. That's the only thing we
There
need
you
to do.
go,
Or
yeah.
Era TV, even better.
So
Think
I
about
liked, obviously it's a great event. Anytime you can get your players exposure and college coaches can attend, that's a great situation thing to go to. I liked it better. So I took my Tell City teams up there, and it was a tournament format. So you had a pool play, and then you played in a tournament. Then it was small school, big school. So 1A and 2A were in a division, and 3A and 4A were in a division. And I liked that better just because I think anytime you can crown a champion or have a winner, it's better. But I get it. I understand. It wasn't a live period then, so there wasn't college coaches when I took my Tell City team up there. So I think that had a big thing to do with it, and it's just blown up. I mean, everybody, if you have a quality team in the state of Indiana, you're going to Charlie Hughes. So I think it's great. I think it's great for the state of Indiana, and it shows how special high school basketball is in this state with all the teams and all the coaches that are there in attendance.
We talked about it a little bit. We just put out a couple of rankings and players to watch for 2027, but even adding 26 and 25, like just the talent we have in this area is unbelievable. So something we want to do on these podcasts is, yes, you're a Charlestown Pirate through and through, but you were a Bulldog. You were at Tell City. You like a lot of local teams, a lot of players. Give me like 4 or 5 either teams or individual players that you're just excited to watch this year. Because, I mean, you don't play every night, so you'll probably go watch them. Well, you're going to have a newborn.
He's going to be busy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll be out scouting. If we're not playing, I'm out scouting. My wife understands that. Yeah. So I think, like I said on Denison's show, I think this is the strongest Southern Indiana basketball's ever been in this area. 4A, you start with Jeffersonville and New Albany. Obviously, Jeff's got a great chance to, head to the state championship and make a run there. We'll see how they do with the target on their back. It's going to be different, but they've shown nothing this summer that would suggest otherwise.
Now, are they on your schedule?
They are not. They're the only local team, 4A team that we don't play. We play New Albany and Floyd.
Okay.
But New Albany's loaded. With Noah, they're going to be really good with all they have coming back as well. So I think at 4A it kind of goes with them. 3A, I feel like we're a player. Silver Creek's going to be really good. They got everybody back. They had Donovan that came back from Colorado. So they're going to have they had a big summer. So they're our biggest rival. We got to get that monkey off our back, and we got to finally knock them off. So play them game 2. We'll see if we're ready, but it should be a fun environment.
Where's that at this year?
It's at our place.
Okay.
So that should help. Sectional's at our place as well. So, that also helps. Brownstown moves up to 3A with the success factor. So they're always good with Coach Benner. We'll see how they do without, Parker and Jack in the backcourt, but they're always going to be well coached and be good. So 3A and 4A, those are the kind of teams I'm looking at. 2A, Providence always kind of seems to be a player. Their style play is very difficult to, play against and prepare for. And then 1A, I think that Christian Academy's got a great chance to make a deep run.
Don't tell him that.
Anytime you got a player like your brother that can, light it up, you're hard to beat. So, and there's good role players around him. So it's going to be a fun atmosphere. Night in and night out. There's going to be a big game. It feels like every weekend, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun for the fans in this area.
Patrick, I want you to pick one underclassman player, or not underclassman, 1 and 2A player that you're really excited to watch. And this is hard. It's hard for you. And then
2A,
one or 2A player, and then 1, 3, or 4A player that you're just like really excited to watch this year.
Okay.
So start with your 4A. That should be easy.
Well, I mean, team wise,
no, player, your individual player that you're ready to go watch that player. You just talked about him for
Anthony
an hour.
Fresh, of course, right?
Okay.
Right here.
There we go.
Mr. Charlestown Pirate.
You like that one, but you're a big Trey Singleton fan.
Of course.
There you go. So that's the one I thought you were going to say. Okay, now the lower classes.
Let's see. Joshua Renfro.
Okay, whatever. He's not that good. What about 2A? Because you talked about 2A, and you know a lot of the teams around here. What are some teams in that 2A level that you're excited to watch?
I mean, 2A personally. I mean, I like seeing my alma mater, South Ripley. I like seeing Cole Henry. I want to see him play. 6'7" forward. Got some college looks. I want to see him. Cam Craig over at Switzerland County. See what they can do in that area.
With Fletch.
Fletch, Dion, Edwards over at Springs Valley, Fletcher, Cole, Paoli, loaded, like you said. It's going to be a fun year.
It's going to be so fun. But that's the good thing about Southern Indiana basketball is like previously with like the Romeo, like you graduated and then you got some good players, but now it's like 26, 27, 28, and even 29. Like we have so many talented people coming up through the basketball. It's going to be a fun time. So,
Coach, I got to ask, do you play the card, okay, Silver Creek's kind of been the gold standard in 3A in this area. Brownstown's just coming off a state title. Do you play the card like, hey, we want our damn respect too. We gotta go out and prove it.
The biggest thing I've tried to change since I've been at Charlestown is the expectation to win.
Yeah.
Coming from the New Albany background, that was the standard that we had is like when we stepped on the floor, it doesn't matter who we're playing, anybody in the state, we expect to win.
And that comes from a young age, like you're expected.
Absolutely.
To be a New Albany Bulldog.
Yeah, and I think that Charlestown growing up, these kids they have to play Hazelwood, Scribner, Parkview, River Valley, and we don't have the success that they want to have, and then we get that stuck in our head that when we play Silver Creek or Parkview or Jet, whoever it is, like we can't beat them. And I think that we took a big step in my second year. We almost beat Silver Creek in the sectional. They got us by one. A game I thought that we had a really good chance to win. Last year we played them without Demetrius Phelps, so we weren't full strength. Probably still didn't play good enough to win. But yeah, to your point, I want us to expect to win those games.
Because the last sectional title, I believe, was 2008.
Yeah, correct. But we got to prove it. Like we had a great summer. We were 19-2. We got to, we can say everything we want to say, but until we step on the floor and we beat a Silver Creek, we beat a New Albany, we beat a Brownstown, we're just going to kind of be in that same, category that we're all talk and all bark no bite. So we definitely know that we have things to prove. I think it hopefully gets our guys hungry. I know it keeps me hungry. Like I said on Dennison's show, that great teams and great coaches in the area make you better. Sure. So every day I'm thinking about how we can get better and what we can do to beat the top teams on our schedule. But yeah, we have to. This is put up or shut up time for us, and we have to prove it on the floor.
And as a head coach, how many years have you been a head coach now total?
This will be year 9. I was 5 at Tell City. This will be year 4 at Charlestown.
So 9 years. When you guys are going into the season, so fall practices are getting ready to start. Do you start talking about March in October and September? Do you wait a while? When do you start talking about like, hey guys, regular season's fun to get better, but like it doesn't matter. Like March matters. Is that how you coach or?
I think that as a staff, you have those discussions. I think for our players, I think we just got to keep them focused on the next opponent. We'll work on stuff in practice that is for a sectional opponent, but we won't tell our players necessarily it's for a sectional opponent. I also think it depends on your team. If I feel like we're mature enough to handle that kind of conversation, we'll do that. Like when I was at Tell City, it was us in Modern Day. It was we knew we were going to collision course in the sectional. So we started working on Modern Day stuff day one, and I had all seniors. So we had that discussion of, 15, 20 minutes of practice each day, we're going to be working on Modern Day stuff, but we still have to, if we play Perry Central next game, we're still, we got to, take care of them first. But to answer your question, I think it just depends on your team. I think as a staff, you're always having those conversations.
Which is new for you this year because you're going to have maybe they're not mature personally, but you're going to have a more mature team as far as basketball goes with seniors and juniors.
Yeah, first time since I've been at Charlestown that we'll have all juniors and seniors as our key players. It seems like I've been coaching all babies.
Yeah.
AJ started as a freshman, Grayson and Demetrius have started as freshmen. So yeah, we're finally, and I think that was a big part of the summer success that we had was they're now juniors and seniors and they know what it takes and the expectation. You can't take plays off, you can't take games off. So that's going to be nice. It definitely practices felt different in the summer, and they always do. It's the summer, and they know it's not as intense. But when we needed to get stuff done, they knew it was time to get stuff done. So I think that'll be a big factor in us, taking a big jump.
It's something Patrick said last year that I've thought about a lot. For that Providence team, this was a couple years ago. Like you said on our podcast, our sectional show last year, that's like if you're a Providence, do you have to take 10 minutes a day and be like, this is Jack Benner. We have to guard him like this. Because like when you go to that, like you're talking about, your sectional is so loaded. The 1A is loaded, the 2A is loaded. Like I'd be interested when we ask all these coaches, like, you're going to have to go up against a Kason Dager who can shoot the lights out. You're going to have to go up against X, Y, and Z. But you said it last year. It's just interesting. Like you don't want it to be like they're building, houses in your head. You're thinking about them all the time. But at the same time, it's like, we're going to have to beat this guy at one point. So
Right.
Damn, I said that.
yeah, you're pretty smart, man.
I was.
We'll talk about Silver Creek a lot.
Yeah.
Just because we got to get that monkey off our back, and they're our biggest rival. To them, we're probably not a rival because they beat us so many times in a row. But I think that our guys are mature enough, and I think they want to beat them bad enough that.
Well, that game's circled on my calendar.
Yeah, for sure.
Game 2. So.
All right.
And as the owner of Era Sports, I have to shout out one of your assistant coach, Ricky Olo, has been the most supportive. I call him a fan of Era Sports since day one. Something we like to talk about with these coaches is probably the most underrated people in the whole program, which is your assistants Tell me a little bit about more about your bench, who they are, what they mean to you, and the program at Charlestown.
Yeah, I'm
God,
super
Jim
fortunate.
Shannon.
Yeah, super fortunate to have
Who's
the
that?
assistants
Yeah.
that I have. Ricky Odell, he's been with me since day one. He was my first call when I got the job. I didn't know him, but just from discussions that I had with people when I got the job, like this is the person. They told me you need to call him, so I called him. He was the first call. He was all in from the get-go. Has been nothing but supportive and helpful. If I need somebody to switch over laundry, he'll switch over laundry. Whatever I need him to do, he'll do. The players love him. He relates to the players really well. So he's been nothing but great. So I can't thank him enough. And then Joe Ledbetter and Tanell Rowland have also been with me since day one. Joe's our JV coach, does a great job getting our JV guys ready for the varsity level. He's a Silver Creek grad, so I try not to hold that against him
He's
too
a
much.
dragon.
But his uncle did coach at Charlestown, so he's got some Charlestown history as well. Tanell Rowland, he's an varsity assistant for us. He played with me at New Albany. He was a year under me, so I graduated in 08. He graduated in 09. He went on to play, college ball at Utah State. So anytime you can have that kind of experience on your bench, and he wants to win more. He's a super nice guy, but if it's like I remember we played open gyms and it was game point and he was guarding you weren't getting a shot off. He was going to foul you. If you got a good look, he was going to foul and you're going to check it back up. So
While we're on that New Albany 08 team, one of the best in this area that I can remember, and I've seen a lot of ball. So I enjoyed that 2008 team a lot.
yeah, it was fun. I mean,
We'll talk a little bit more about that because I want to know. So finish your coaching job because I hate to say it, but I'm young. I was 9 years old when that
So
happened.
he's
so
saying we're old.
right.
I just want to
I'm
know
getting
more.
up there. I'm getting up there. Mike Warren, he was with me my first year, then took a year off and then came back this past season. He was the Jeff girls head coach for 5 or 6 years, had some success there. Good friend, one of my best friends, and he was actually an assistant at New Albany when I was a player, and we kind of had that relationship, built that relationship there, and just continued to grow. So he's been great. He works in the building, so somebody that I can go to and bounce ideas off of. And then obviously, everybody wants to talk about Coach Shannon on staff. Kind of like a second father figure to me. His son, Spencer, they moved down here when he was in 3rd grade. We're the same age. We were in the same class every year growing up. So have strong, relationship with him. And I was over at Coach Shannon's house, a couple days a week, staying the night, hanging out. He's probably a big reason why I got into coaching. I knew my dad was a teacher, so I kind of had that background, but I knew that I wanted to get into coaching, basically right out of high school. So a lot of credit to him for that. And he's great to have on staff. He's changed completely his, tone with the players. He's Mr. Positive now. He doesn't have to be, angry or mean at anybody. He lets me be the bad guy, and he can be the good cop and, build guys up. And if you pay attention during the game, as soon as I take somebody out, whether it's his time to come out or they, made a couple mistakes, he's the first coach to go down there and talk to him and get their head right in the right space to, be ready when they go back in.
Suits is one of my favorite shows of all time. I don't know if either one of you have watched that.
I've seen a couple episodes.
They have Harvey Specter, who's they call him the best closer in New York City. And that's what you remind me of with Coach Shannon, is you had to be the best closer to just snag a guy like Jim Shannon as your assistant coach. Because,
Yeah, I think it just kind of worked. Timing kind of worked out.
you had to feel good about that one.
Yeah, it was a good feeling, and I'm glad that everybody kept saying, well, I think he's going to be a head coach again. I think he'll just be here for 1 year. And I said, that's fine. If he is, he is. But I'll take him for as long as I can have him, and he's going to come back again this year. So, yeah, it's been great. We've had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun when I was an assistant under him at New Albany, and now that roles have kind of reversed, we still laugh and talk about, things that he would get on me about when I was assistant. Now he laughs like, now you're my boss, so if you need me to go change laundry, I'll go change laundry. So
There we go.
he'll do anything that I ask him to do, and
Seems a lot more chill now.
yeah, I think he's different headspace, not as much pressure.
It's like when your parents become grandparents and you're like, who are you? You're
Right,
nice. You give them
right.
whatever they want.
Yeah.
He's in his grandparent coaching phase now, right? He's
Yeah,
like,
all the players are his grandkids, so he's Mr. Nice Guy. But no, he's been great, and I'm happy that he's coming back next year.
okay, so I worked with New Albany's athletic department a couple of years ago, or maybe last year, on making some videos of previous teams that did really well. So it was cool for me to be like, all right, I was -10 when this happened, but I get to see some of these players.
-10 in 2008.
Not 2008, but the 90s teams that we were editing, I was like, I wasn't even here. So Tell me a little bit about this 08 team. I did some research after the Denison podcast about that, but clearly everybody would say like they'd give their left arm to go back and play high school basketball. But like, tell me about that time, the players you were with, how fun was that time, your success, and just a little bit about that team.
It was, probably the best, years of my life. A lot of people like college, and college was fun. But high school basketball, playing high school basketball in Indiana, playing at New Albany, being on a #1 ranked team, it doesn't get much better than that. And I think the best part of it was how close of a group we were. I mentioned Spencer Shannon. We were best friends growing up. He was, he's a senior the same time I am. Braden Hobbs, senior. We were ball boys together. So we played AAU together. Like just growing up, we were always together, us three. William Barber, Braden actually went to Hazelwood, and Spencer and I went to Scribner. Well, William Barber went to Hazelwood, so they, played together there. So us four were the four seniors, and really had just a tight bond. And we kind of knew what each other were going to do before we knew what we were going to do. Especially Braden, he's a wizard, at the point. And then Will Young came in from Our Lady, and he was kind of a big role player for us. But those were our core guys as seniors. But we also had Tennell rolling right behind us as a junior. Donnie Hale's a sophomore. Two guys that played Division I basketball. I guess Donnie had Division I offers. Chris Whitehead was a freshman then and couldn't even sniff a significant varsity minutes. That's how good we were. But I think it was more. We didn't athletically just impose our will on you. We were just smart and just kind of like slowly just dissected you, and it was a lot of fun.
What was your favorite win from that year?
The one I remember the most is loss against Brownsburg. We played Evansville Wright, so Evansville Wrights was really good that year. We played them in the regular season at our place. It went to overtime, and that's probably the loudest I've ever heard the doghouse. It was. I think we were ranked, 1 or 2, and they were ranked top 5. So that was probably the game that stuck out the most. And then we played them again in the regional, and it wasn't as close, fortunately for us. But there wasn't very many close games. I don't know what our average margin of victory was, but it was in the 20s. It was pretty high.
I was here for the Romeo era to see that, but what was the doghouse like back then? Was it the same?
Very similar. Yeah. Just a little bit. Everybody that was there when Romeo was there was just 10 years younger.
Yeah. My favorite game that I've ever watched of high school basketball was actually Romeo at Charlestown when you were still on staff. At New Albany?
That was you
weren't there?
So I left to go to Tell City after we won state their sophomore year. So that would have been his junior or senior year, I think.
It was unbelievable. See, Charlestown sold out with the way the gym is, plus all their it was so cool. Yeah. And then Romeo dropped, I think, 50.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a game.
Just a cool 50.
It was some slight, but it's just cool to hear about Southern Indiana basketball. I wish that era was filming in 08. My biggest regret is that I didn't have a camera in my hands for the Romeo and Shawnees.
Right.
I probably wouldn't be sitting here if I would have followed them. But
does that 08 New Albany team, does that contend with this year's Jeffersonville team? Do they beat them?
I've always had the question of, does the state championship team with Romeo, could we beat that team?
Yeah.
It's hard because it's different. I think that we matched up really with anybody because we had, Donnie inside.
And his development from freshman to sophomore year was huge because I don't remember him much at all freshman year. That sophomore year just came on, started, fit like a glove for you guys.
Yeah, I just felt like the hardest thing was for opposing teams against us was how you were going to guard us because we could score inside. We had good shooters, and we shared the ball so well. I think Braden was our leading scorer. 13. We had Braden and Donnie and William Barber all 13, 14 points a game. I think I was our 5th leading scorer, 8 or 9 points a game. So we were really difficult to guard. Mm-hmm. So, I didn't think we had any weaknesses. Not saying that, obviously the state championship team at New Albany didn't have very many weaknesses either, and this Jeff team doesn't have very many weaknesses either. So I just think we were all different teams. This Jeff team's more in your face. Uh-huh. We're gonna pressure you, full court. We didn't necessarily do that. We were more of a we did half court trap and stuff, but we didn't man to man just pick you up and full court. So
a lot of time those better teams like with Jeff too, or you look back at their Parkview pictures or whatever it is, dude, they've been playing together since 1st grade. Sounds like what you're talking about.
Right.
It's not the transfers that really make the teams the best. It's Sean and Romeo and all these guys have been together since they were, at Hazelwood or Scribner, wherever they were.
Right.
So that's cool to see. So, Coach, Southern Indiana basketball, we want Charlestown to get known all the way up to the top of the state and around. We'll do our best this season to do that. But leaving this episode, what are a couple things you want the whole state to know about the Pirates this year?
Say we're coming.
Yeah, I think we're coming. I hope we're coming. Yeah. I just think that we play a pretty fun brand. We played super fast the last 2 years. We're still going to play fast. Maybe not I don't think we'll press at the rate that we pressed at the last 2 years, just because I felt like we had to do that in the past just to create easy possessions, easy points.
So not like the Tell City teams.
No, Tell City, we grinded it out. It was totally different. We would grind you out, first 1 to 40, when I was coaching down there.
Braden Beard would have about 25 or 30.
Yeah, he was really good. He make my job a lot easier. So, but I think we'll still play a fun brand. I think we're going to be exciting. Fresh brings, the freshness, the freshness, the dunking, which everybody likes to see. But
we're taglining that this year.
The freshness.
But
I think that it's not just. I think that any given night we could have a different player be our leading scorer. Of our 5 starters that we'll have, I think that all of them could average double figures. But I think we can beat you in different ways. It's not we got to do this to win the game. I think, okay, if they take away plan A, I think we still can win with plan B or plan C. So I think that we'll play hard. I think we'll compete every night. And, I think we're exciting and play a fun brand. And
there's been years you guys can push it as much as you want, but to the audience, you guys need to go out and support Charlestown this year. It's going to be fun. Games are going to be – there's been years where the support wasn't there and the gym's cool, but, you guys need to know what you guys have this year. The team's good. The chemistry's great. You have a great head coach. Go support your team this year.
I was going to say also the athletic director, Chad Gilbert, over there. You got sports people.
Yeah, my administration's A+. I couldn't ask for a better administrators than I got. And Chad, even though he's not on staff, he's another guy that I can bounce ideas off of.
Best hair as an athletic director for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has better hair than Chad.
He hasn't had a cut since I've been there. So no, and he was obviously one of the best players in Charlestown. I know he's excited about this year's team. But yeah, like you said, we need to get the support out there. We need to get the student sections. We'll try different things to try to get some kids out there. But if you're not going to come watch us this year, I don't know if we can get the support. So hopefully come out, watch us, support us. We should have good crowds, good student sections. And it should be a lot of fun basketball.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming out to the podcast this week, you guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe this, and we will see you next time on the Air Sports Podcast.
Sports. We're at the game.